Hello and welcome. So you might already know that Bootstrap has released a new version 5.1.3, which has a lot of cool features, and you might probably want to use those cool features in your website. But when you try to use the new version of Bootstrap, you might face some problems. For example, if you have already built your website in version 4 or 4.6.1, then if you try to use version 5, then a lot of things will start to break. To know what all things have changed in Bootstrap 5 from 4, they have released a migration document, which is a beautiful article you can go through and see what all things have changed. For example, here SAS changes are there, and the grid changes are here. A few things have changed for grid layout. Then forms have changed. So all these things you can go through this document and read. You may find this document a little clumsy and a lot to read. So here we can try having a website migrated from version 4 to 5 so that you can see what all things are going to break and how to fix it. For that, I have created a sample page just containing a form so that we can try to understand what all things have changed in a form. Here, this is in Bootstrap version 4, and this is the code for it. This is just one single page so that I can show you what all things have changed. It doesn't contain much things. It's just sample form. So what we're going to do is we're going to install Bootstrap version 5 and see what all things break. For that, we need to go to the Bootstrap website, getbootstrap.com. This is their website, getbootstrap.com, and you can download the version 5 files here. I'm using compiled CSS and JS version in my project. You might be using a CDN. For example, JS Deliver provides a CDN. So if you are using CDN, you can directly copy paste these links and you will get that. If you are using compiled CSS and JS files, that will be the case if you're working on an enterprise application. It is done for more stability. Now, you can download these files here and you will get a zip folder. I already have downloaded it and I have unzipped all those files here. Okay, so when you unzip, you're going to get a dist folder. A dist folder will contain CSS and JS files in two separate folders, just like version 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this and put it in the version 4 project. Before that, let me create a copy of that new version 4 project so that the original version is not lost. I will call it migrated. All right, that's migrated. Now we are going to migrate it. Inside that, I have a Bootstrap files inside assets Bootstrap folder, to which I'm going to copy the new version. It already had the version 4 Bootstrap here. I'm going to delete the previous files. Okay, now I'm going to bring in the version 5 files, pasted it. Okay, now we have the version 5 here. Cool. Let us open that file here, Bootstrap migrated index.html. All right, so as soon as I've put it here, things have started to break. The form here did change. First name and last name was coming in single line like this, first name and last name, and there is no spacing between these input fields if you look at them closely, and the drop down has lost its style, and the checkbox is not exactly how it was working. The look and feel is different. Okay, so let's try to fix these changes. For that, let me open this project. I'm using Visual Studio Code. Okay, this helps me open the project in Visual Studio Code. All right, so we have this. Okay, I'm going to rename it to version 5 so that we can see it as version 5. Okay, version 5. And we're going to fix these things here. For that, if you go to the Bootstrap website, in the migration document, they have said what all things have changed with forms. If you go there, you can see all these things have changed. There are 5 to 10 bullet points, and all these are breaking changes, which means your layout is going to break. That's what we saw here. Things are broken. Now, first of all, the form group, form row, form inline things are all gone. They're suggesting us to use the grid utilities instead of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to change it from form row. This is the first name and last name input fields, and they were using form row, which is not there anymore. So instead we're going to use it just row. And let's refresh the screen. Let's see if they come in single row. Yes, they did. First name and last name are in single row now, just like it was before. Now, another thing changed with Bootstrap 5 is that form group, this is also gone. Form group is gone. Form group was responsible for giving a padding, a margin between these two. Email address, there is an input field, and there is a little gap between the first input field and the second input field. If we come to version 5, we don't see that gap there so close. So in order to change that, in order to fix that issue, what they suggest is instead of form group, which is gone now, we must use spacing. MB3 will give you some margin bottom. So it will introduce a margin bottom after the input control. Now, if we refresh this, no, save that. Okay, save it. Refreshing this page, now you can see that the spacing is back. Similarly, we can do that for all other form groups. Form group is here and here. Okay, so those form groups are here. I'm going to replace them with MB3. Cool. Gonna reload it. Okay, so the spacing is back. Another thing that changed with Bootstrap is that here, form label. Initially, form control labels did not require any classes. But now with Bootstrap 5, we have to explicitly specify that this is a form label. So all the labels we're using here, we have a label, and we have a label here. I'm going to put multiple cursors so that I don't have to type too much. All right, custom label is something different. We will discuss about that. For all the labels, we can add a new class, and that class will be form-label. Now that should fix the issue how the label is getting rendered. I've saved it. Now reloading the page. Right. So it has added some spacing between the label and the input field so that it looks better. It does not look so clumsy. Now that we have fixed the problem with label, another input control which we were using has a problem. This is a select dropdown. it has lost its tag. If we go to the version 4 here, it was looking like this. These are custom select boxes, and Bootstrap has dropped the support for that. Okay. The very first point in forms, the second point states that custom check is now form check, custom select is form select. So these kind of changes, custom file input was there, now it becomes form file. So instead of using custom select, we are going to use form select. So this is our select dropdown, and instead of custom select, we're going to use form select. All right, going back to the page, reloading, ta-da, it fixed the issue. Now the select is behaving as it should be. Now for this checkbox also, we were using custom checkbox in version 4. Here we're going to change that also. We don't need custom checkbox. It is form check now, and custom control input also must change to form. It's not form control. Better we refer the documentation. Forms, you can see the documentation in Bootstrap 5 checks and radios. If you go there, you can see a sample code how it is given. There is a form check clause wrapping the input and label, and there is a form check input for the input field and form check label for the label. So we are going to follow the same. Here is a form check, cool. Then for form check input, and here a form check label. All right, now going back to the page and reloading it. Okay, now it looks different and behaves different. So these are some of the changes in the form when you migrate from Bootstrap version 4 to 5. There are a lot of things that have changed. You can find all those things in the migration document. This is just a sample of what all things have changed, and these are some common fields which we use in HTML forms. So explore all these items, find what all things have changed for you, and comment in the sections what all things you have found.